2 volunteers to escort Trump out. Reporting for duty. Breaking. Joe Biden names Rick Bright to his C-virus task force. Rick Bright is the whistleblower who blew the whistle on the Trump administration, ignoring the early warnings of the pandemic. He was then fired by Trump. Karma is amazing. Gee, I see now you're not great or powerful. You're just an a-hole. Donald Trump isn't the stupidest person alive as long as there's one person stupid enough to believe a goddamn word he says. Me watching my neighbors take their Trump signs out of the yard. What Trump built in 4 years, Biden will destroy in 4 months. I don't think it takes 4 months to destroy 2.5 miles of fence. It's both hilarious and terrifying that Trump and some percent of his supporters think this thing isn't over. Trump 2020. Trump campaign staffers have been fielding calls on a hotline to try to find voter fraud. But the hotline has turned into a nightmare as staffers have been bombarded with prank calls from people laughing or mocking them over Biden's win before hanging up. Then he sued all the states and made us recount. So we watched him lose twice. Trump. I don't find Sacha Baron funny at all. Sacha Baron, I don't find you funny either, but yet, the whole world is laughing at you. When you're the doctor, but the village idiot is giving medical advice. Trump loses election. Deutsche Bank. When you break it all down, Donald Trump is just a broke guy, addicted to drugs, with outstanding warrants, 5 kids by 3 different women, who's about to get evicted from public housing. Well, I hope you voters are happy. Because right now President Trump is at home crying like a little girl. This is the worst day of my life. The worst day of your life so far. Everyone is celebrating, but, like, I don't know man. It kinda feels like a horror movie where the monster just died, but there's still 20 minutes left in the runtime. The best thing I've done? Exposing the amount of hate and ignorance that exists in America. When journalists ask Trump about his handling of the C virus, instead of his favorite ice cream flavor. Obama turns around and drains a 3 after giving a speech. Not to be outdone, Trump dropped a 2 in his pants after 9 holes of golf. Donald Trump built his real estate empire evicting people of color this week. People of color evicted Donald Trump. Ocasio-Cortez. Plenty of people without college degrees could run this country better than Trump. If you didn't want to get mocked for losing the election, you shouldn't have spent your entire presidency being a giant freaking a-hole. When 60 Minutes and Leslie Stahl are too tough for you, you ain't all that tough. Obama, a real president. They spread disinformation. They reduced polling locations and voting hours. They charged citizens to vote. They purged voter rolls. They intimidated people. They changed ID laws. They scared people of death itself. They even ran Kanye. And they still freaking lost. We belligerently demand the respect. We refuse to give. Stock market up big. Vaccine coming soon. Report 90% effective. Such great news. You do realize the market is up big because you lost the election, right? One thing that Trump will never have to worry about is having his speeches plagiarized by a future president. The best Christmas present ever. Imagine how it will feel the first time the sun comes up and Donald Trump is no longer the president of the United States. Why hasn't Donald Trump ever finished a novel? Because he always gets stuck in chapter 11. Just saying. I've tweeted at least 5 times to Trump Jr. and Eric that their dad wants to frick their sister and not once has Twitter flagged it as misleading and inaccurate. Everybody's laughing at Trump's team holding a press conference between a crematorium and a dildo store, but at least they're in the right place after a whole nation told them to frick off and die. If Trump wants to stop the count, there's a way he can do that. Concede, itch. Trump poses with black people like he just caught a fish. Hey Trump, remember how you spoke about McCain? Arizona remembers. Live your life in such a way that the entire planet doesn't dance in the street when you lose your job. If Trump lose, you're gonna take them big Trump 2020 flags off your trucks, or you're gonna keep them up for the next 150 years like you'll have with the Confederate flags after they lost the Civil War, both of which only lasted 4 years. How to lose 307 pounds in just 4 days. Vote. Our new First Lady of the United States. A doctor, not a hooker. You could make this pay-per-view and pay off the national debt. Trump has signaled to allies that the Secret Service will have to drag him from the White House kicking and screaming. From the guy who brought you the reason there are so many cases is because we are doing too many tests, comes the new hit single I'm only losing because they're counting all the votes against me. Daily News. Cheat and liar accuses everyone of cheating and lying. Trump just said when you spend days counting ballots the ballot count changes. He thought the same thing about testing for COVID. This guy doesn't know how numbers work, right? Mr. President. Mr. President. A new Trump University poll has the president leading in all 72 states. Why have Trump and Republicans accepted the results from House and Senate elections, but not presidential? Everything was on the same ballots. Lindsey Graham is the closest Trump has come to owning a dog. Jimmy Kimmel. So Trump, who demanded 12 hours ago to stop counting all ballots, now wants every ballot recounted in Wisconsin. Got it? Trump's entire presidency has felt like being tied to a chair, watching a toddler play with a loaded pistol. Biden is a proven Castro puppet. Vote Trump. Who is gonna tell him Castro is dead? The only way Trump gets to 270 now is if he loses 50 pounds. Sure, X is great, but Biden plans immediate flurry of executive orders to reverse Trump policies. Would indeed be ironic if Donald Trump lost the presidential election by a margin of votes equal to the number of his supporters who died from COVID-19 for having refused to wear masks in public. Obama in Miami, questioning Trump's fixation on crowd sizes. Did no one come to his birthday party as a kid? When threatened, the common North American Trump, Anus tangerinus, inflates its neck pouch and emits hostile tweets. Joe and Jill went up the hill to start to heal the nation. Trump went down, that evil clown, to face incarceration. Donald Trump has been bullying science for the last 7 months. Well, he's about to get his ass handed to him by science's older brother, math. Stop the fraud. This sad day for US and a Premier Mac Donald Trump have victory stolen from him. Everyone know voting against glorious leader is highly illegal. Is probably all the women's and Jew with their stupid democracy. McDonald will be remembered as greatest dictator in US and A. The only reason Biden is winning is because they're counting every vote. This is a devastating attack on our democracy. So this is how fascism dies. Between a dildo shop and a crematorium. Oops, wrong Dodger. Trump didn't predict voter fraud before the election. He knew he wouldn't win, so he made up an excuse in advance. Philadelphia proudly telling tyrants to frick off since 1776. The you lost. Get over a crowd from 2016 sure seems to be in a bad mood right now. This is how I feel about a Sleepy Joe presidency, after a nightmare anxiety insomnia Trump presidency. Happy 8-year anniversary to this tweet. The Electoral College is a disaster for a democracy. Keep digging. The voter fraud is in there somewhere. It's tempting to use the analogy of rats fleeing a sinking ship to describe the growing number of Republican elected officials starting to speak out against Donald Trump, but that's really not fair to rats. who tend not to be complicit in driving ships to the bottom of the sea.